Hello, so today I'm going to support not so much a small business, but a book that I very much believe in, that I've had for quite some time, that I really enjoy, and also just to highlight these two wonderful ladies. The illustrator is Wendy Hollander, and the writer is Dina Falcone. And Dina Falcone is a well-renowned herbalist, and she cooks with all of the things that she forages. So, as it says here, it is Foraging and Feasting, a field guide and wild food cookbook. And it is truly this. So, the whole back half of the book, as I show you, is the cookbook part of it. But the art from Wendy Hollander is just absolutely breathtaking. See, look at this. This is just the beginning. So she draws botanically correct plants and flowers so that it is literally almost like a scientific drawing. There's a beautiful table of contents that goes through each one of these wild flowers and herbs. Her drawings make it near impossible to mistake what it is. And I have other foraging books where it's photographs, and honestly I don't like them as much as this one, because as I'll show you the pictures of how she's drawn things, you get to see every part of it. She draws out the seed, the root, the flower, the leaves, what the stems look like, every single detail. And sometimes with the photo books of things like that, the photo is very small and it doesn't show you all of the things like that. And there are quite a few things that it's really important to know what you're getting, because you don't want to get something obviously that's poisonous. So this first half of the book is showing you, as you can see there, it says regenerative harvesting tips. So there's lots of tips on here about, like the first one, to ensure a population of non-endangered plants will continue to grow in a given area, in general, leave 30% of the plants untouched. Of course, this depends on the plant. For example, gill over the ground or dandelion, or really most of the plants featured in this book, can be harvested without much threat of decimating their populations. But that is true very much so for things that are rarer, especially like in the sage category of the white sage. Especially, a lot of people are very sensitive on that subject of where it grows in the wild, because people come and just absolutely wipe out an entire area to make sage bundles to sell, and they don't give regards to whose land it is, whether it's native people's lands. And so that can be a very sore subject, you know. And then you take all of the sage, which is very just downright greedy. It shows you here on this illustration how much you want to take and how to take it from the plant without hurting the plant so that it can grow back. How to harvest flowers, shoots, seeds, fruit, encouraging runners. So lots of wonderful tips there. And then here is the wild food harvest timing and techniques. Tells you when to harvest the flowers. Like, for example, harvest flowers when they are vibrant and perky. In hot weather, this means gathering them in the early part of the day before the heat wilts them, but after most of the dew has evaporated. During cooler weather, flowers can be picked throughout the day. Just wonderful things like that. I mean, the whole first half of the book is so helpful. How to dry them. And then it gets into a beautiful picture there. Then it gets into them alphabetically. So, of course, this first one is Amaranth. And let me move this up so you can see. This is talking about the stem, leaves, seeds, See how beautiful her art is? It's just so perfectly well done. Just not even really like art. And because she draws them so big, you can fully see things. It has, each page will have a culinary uses for what parts and what to do with each part. It has the habitat of where it likely grows and how it grows, the zone that it grows in. We have American black currant. This is my favorite, one of my favorite flowers. This is the anise hyssop. Even to the detail of how the leaves form opposite or on the same side. Everything. When it grows, mid-spring to summer. This is apple mint. Gorgeous. Bee balm. And so it's nice to, like, I know this is a big book, but once you get the hang of harvesting these things, as you take nature walks and hikes, you will get better and better at knowing exactly what you're looking at. This is wild blackberry, black raspberry, blueberry high bush. And boy, if you come across some wild blueberries, oh, you are a very lucky person indeed. They are some of the most healing foods Mother Nature ever gave us. Red seed poppy, which are not only fragrant and beautiful, but just you can use so much parts of them. You can save the seeds. Oftentimes, like in the end of summer and the fall, you'll see these like husky things out when you're hiking, and it's good to know what those are because that's where all the seeds are. Burdock root. This one has 2 pages because there's so much to know about burdock. I literally posted this book so long ago when I first bought it on my Instagram, and the ladies actually answered when I took a picture of this inner cover with the ferns, and I felt so happy that they did. Here's another really nutritious so-called weed, chickweed. Everything in here is so medicinal, comfrey. So again, it just goes by alphabetical. Dame's Rocket, Dandelion. I will be having a dandelion video coming real soon. Daylilies. Our last house had a huge patch of daylilies that would get bigger and bigger every year. And I used to do lots of things with the daylilies. So pretty. The flowers are edible. Day flowers are beautiful. Egyptian onion. Elderberry, which a lot of people know how incredibly healing elderberry is. You can make a tincture and a syrup to help you stay well and get you well when you're sick. European blackcurrant. field garlic, garlic mustard, which grows pretty much everywhere. You'll know it when you pick garlic mustard. It has a smell. And what's interesting about garlic mustard especially is that how much the leaf shape changes. In early spring they're round like this, but then in summer they get pointy. But its smell gives it away of what it is when you pick it and you smell those leaves. Now see, this is another one from my childhood, gill over the ground. Now, you'll see this in pretty much every yard in North America. There's lots of other ones that look similar, like the purple dead nettle and henbit, but they're all pretty much edible by people. But the gill over the ground I see more often. And when I was a little girl in Wisconsin, we had tons of it in our yard. And although I never asked my mom if it was okay, there was 2 plants that I just inherently, somehow instinctively knew they were okay. And I would pluck these little purple flowers off and then like suck on the end. And the nectar inside of them tastes so sweet and so good. And I was like 4 years old, maybe 5, really didn't know. And I was told by my mom never to eat things outside because you just didn't know what was poisonous and what wasn't. But somehow I inherently knew that this one was okay, and I'll get to another one here in a bit that I did the same thing on. So you have gooseberry, Jerusalem artichoke. In our last house that we lived in Illinois, we had these beautiful trails near Starved Rock, and there would be lots of Jerusalem artichokes that grew there naturally. Mallow and lemon balm. Lemon balm is another one that you can actually get seeds for and plant yourself. Make a very healing tea with it, as well as finding it growing wild. Mallow is a really pretty little purpley pink flower, like a light pink. It's another one I've seen walking. And this one as well too, the hollyhock mallow. Nettle. All of these are very healing. I should stop saying that. Okay, wild peppermint. And then the difference between regular nettle and purple dead nettle, which again, see, looks very much like gill over the ground, but she's so detailed you'll know the difference. Even though, like I said, both of them are edible. Red clover, which is another one of those ones that grows in your yard that you mow over all the time. I always think it has the most beautiful leaves. And lots of animals eat clover, as well as bees and butterflies. And we can eat them too. They help with allergies a lot. And then this is Purslane, another extremely beneficial one. And it is one that you'll see like growing out of the crack in a sidewalk. It's a very tough plant. Red currant and red raspberry. Rose. I'm blessed to have a rose bush outside our house now. As soon as it blooms, I'll be out there harvesting as many petals as hit the ground, and I'll try to get some footage of it. I have a little shorts that I'm gonna do of the crabapple tree in the front. And then you have sheep sorrel, Shirley poppy, spearmint and star chickweed. Here's the spearmint, star chickweed, violets. Violets are so fun to go pick and make many, many things out of when they come up. This is violet season right now, actually, and I have all the white ones just like this in my yard right now. The white with the purple in the inside. But I was really hoping for the dark purple because I really like to make things out of them. Sweet Sicily, which is another one you'll see all over the place on the sides of the roads, side of trails, is white bushy things. Wild bergamot, which you could make your own oils with, scented oil, essential oil with, if you're blessed enough to grow it or have somewhere near where you can get it. Wild grape. Wild lettuce. And this one is one of the tricky ones. You want to really 100% know without a doubt that you're getting wild lettuce, because there's another one that looks very similar that's poisonous. So be very, very careful with wild lettuce. A lot of herbalist people use it as a birth control method. And wild sorrel is the other one that when I was a girl, I just inherently knew it was okay. And I ate these. They have these little pods that pop up in between the yellow flowers. And I always thought they looked like little tiny pickles when I was little. And I ate them and they kind of taste like little tiny pickles because they're sour. And they're really good. And you can pop those little seed pods off and like put them in a salad. There's all kinds of things you can do with them. This is, you can eat the leaf, tender stem, green seed pod, and the flower. And then every page too, she references the recipes in the back of the book that for each one of these. And you have yellow dock. It has 2 pages as well because it's a complicated plant. And then here is a chart, plant biographies chart. Goes through each one. Plant habitat charts for all the ones in this book. Seasonal harvest chart for each one of these, which is very helpful. So you know when to look for them, when to harvest. Culinary uses. And then this is when she gets into the kitchen arts. And this part is well worth reading. Goes into how to use the best basic ingredients to bring out the best of your recipes here. This is the first section on the cookbook, beverages. So lots of helpful like waters to make from them, teas, juices. Goes into all the recipes. Agua frescas, master recipes. Herbal infusions, which is basically like a tea. Smoothies, smoothie master recipe, where it can, you just pick a fruit, pick a sweetener, pick a liquid, pick an extra, and then add the herbs. Smoothie variations, where it's a straight recipe form. Raspberries and cream, blueberry coconut heaven, Dina's smoothie on the go. Spirited drinks, alcoholic drinks. Which is really helpful. A lot of people make dandelion wine. In our last house we had little tiny tart cherry tree, and you can make a cherry wine from that. Kefir Sodas, which is a lot like kombucha, where it's fizzy, it's fermented. So very, very helpful and healing for you, especially if you have a bad stomach or you tend to have problems in your bowels like diarrhea or constipation. It's a very helpful drink for that, and just straight up delicious. So she goes into very good detail on how to make the kefir sodas. There's a master recipe. She goes into that. She even goes in here of the sugar content of the fruits, so you know how to combine everything. I have never dabbled into that yet. I plan to, but again, like the fruits that I want to do it with are in the hot summer, and this house has no air conditioning, so it might have to wait till we get our own place someday, just because when it gets 90 something inside the house, it's not gonna be helpful for your fermentation. It's just gonna be way too hot. So you want to have balance inside your house. I guess I could do other flavors though in the spring and the fall before it gets too hot or too cold in here. And then this whole section is relishes, spreads, condiments, edible flowers, what to do with edible flowers, making butters, flavored butters, pesto, bean dip, lots of dips, cheese dips, bean dips, herbal fish spreads, mayonnaise, bouillon, fruit sauces is the next section, wild barbecue, the barbecue sauce master recipe, which I have done before. It is amazing. Savory fruit sauces, fruit chutney master recipe. So you can see it is ketchup, a fruit ketchup. It is just the most amazing book. Fruit coulis and syrups. What to do with your syrups, as a matter of fact. Wild salads. A lot of these herbs and plants and flowers, their leaves taste really good in a salad, and their flowers as well. So I wanted to highlight this beautiful book because I believe so firmly into supporting small businesses, supporting small artists. And also, this is the time of the year for foraging and feasting, for checking out what's around you, what's growing in your yard, what's growing in the neighbor's yard that they'll let you have, what's growing on the trees and the bushes. Our last house, our neighbor had a mulberry bush. I don't know why I forgot that for a second. Mulberry bush. And every year it got bigger. And the whole time that that man lived there, he didn't mind if I harvested from it. So I did. And I would just go crazy with the mulberries. And I loved them. They were so delicious. I saved all the upper branches for the birds. And I just got the ones I could reach. I would make syrups, jam. I would freeze them and just do smoothies with them. So many things with this mulberry bush. And then when he moved out, a family moved in. And one of the most heartbreaking things I have ever witnessed was that I told them what it was and how wonderful it was. They had kids, and I told them all the things you could make from it, and they didn't care. Even though it wasn't invasive and hurting anything for the house, they poured gasoline on it and burned it and then cut the rest of it out. And I don't think I've been that heartbroken in a very long time, to see such a medicinal, beautiful bush that not only could feed your family, but feeds all the pollinators and the birds. Oh, it just broke my heart. So it's just, if you can help you know, educate someone kindly that lives around you to you just don't know what you have. Another neighbor on the other side was an elderly lady who had these amazing lilac bushes. And again, she didn't mind if I, you know, picked the lilacs. And again, you can do so much with lilacs, and they smell like heaven. So it's worth knowing what you have, what's near you, what's on the trail when you go hiking. A lot of these foods are so good for you. What to do with wild grape leaves is that section. Soups, and I have eaten quite a few of these soups over the years. This section here is really helpful, and 3 ways to make soup thick and creamy and without cornstarch. You can add a cup of thinly sliced potato, add 2/3 cup of cooked rice, make a roux with organic flour and butter. Very helpful. Who doesn't like a thick and creamy soup, right? Sandwiches is this section. It just goes on. There's main courses in here. Herbed meat meatloaf, shepherd's pie. This is the whole meat eater section of main dishes. Wild eggery, savory dishes that include eggs, which is helpful when you have chickens and you have so many eggs, you don't know what to do with them. Some of these egg meals you can even make and then freeze. And then it gets into all the desserts, cookies, pastries, pies, whipped cream, all kinds of things like that. Custard ice creams with the wild fruits. So again, I don't want to have this video be too long. It probably is, but I cannot, stocks. Yeah, stocks. I cannot stress more about, this is a very helpful section. Nuts and seeds, soaking and drying. Very helpful to know if you have a walnut tree, anything like that, or just in general, like lots of other wild nuts like black walnuts and I think chestnuts, stuff like that. It helps you to know how to harvest, but not only that, but how to dry them, how to soak them. So please, if you're interested, I do believe this book is sold on Amazon. I bought it many years ago. My daughter is 7, so I think I bought it probably like 9 years ago. And I got it originally from their website, but I'm not sure if that's still up anymore. I'm going to do my research and have their links to their Instagrams, Facebooks, whatever I can find on these 2 ladies. I'm sure it's sold on Amazon as well by now. Which will still help these ladies as far as supporting them to buy it. My daughter drew in it, sorry. This is the index. So thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please think about liking and subscribing, because I make new naturally colored soaps and bath bombs and candles every month. And I also do natural color baking and cooking videos too. That's my new thing, and I'm going to do one for every season, and there'll be another one coming up soon in July. Take care. Happy foraging and feasting.